welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be touching on mental health, my mental health journey. I want to put a trigger warning. We are going to be talking about anxiety, we're going to be talking about depression. So if this doesn't sit well with you, then feel free to come back for another video. That is perfectly fine. But for today's video, I want to touch on my journey. I want to talk about mental health, some questions that you guys asked me on my Instagram, things that you thought were important to talk about, and kind of like release a bit of the taboo and the stigma about talking about mental health and how it is something that needs to be tiptoed around, because it's something that is very prevalent in society and it needs to be spoken about more. So that's what I'm here to do. So it's no secret that I have mental health issues. I don't go around screaming it from the rooftops, but it is something that I deal with in my day-to-day, and I just thought it was super important to talk about. So I've got some notes on my phone so that I don't miss anything in this video, because I feel like it's important and I don't want to have to refilm it because I'm wearing waterproof mascara for a reason today. So just briefly before I get into this video, I just want to make it very clear that everyone's experience with mental health is completely different. It is completely valid no matter how you're experiencing it. But I just want to come from my perspective and talk about my journey. So my journey has to deal with anxiety, depression, and panic disorder, and these are completely valid things and things that people deal with in their day-to-day. And yeah, let's just get into it and we'll have a chat. So my most prevalent mental health issue is, I hate the word issue, my most prevalent mental health thing is anxiety, and I have had that for literally as long as I can remember. I was diagnosed when I was 16, but I can look back now and recognize like anxiety symptoms that I had when I was literally 4 years old. So it is something that has always been a part of my life, so I'm very acquainted with it. Obviously that doesn't mean that it's necessarily easy all the time, but it is something that I have dealt with for a very long time, and I am understanding more and more every single day, and especially recently when I have been exploring all of like my vibrations and all of that stuff, unlocking my main character. I don't want to get too much into that because that's not what this video is about, but I have found myself a lot more and it has made me more confident to talk about stuff like this. And yeah, so diagnosed when I was 16, and now I'm 21, so I have been diagnosed for 5 years with general anxiety disorder, panic disorder, and depression. So the first question I got was, when and how did you realise that something wasn't right? Now I was actually not in Australia at the time. I was on a school trip to Indonesia because I did Indonesian at the time, and honestly that is the most miserable I have ever been in my whole life. I was crying every single day. I couldn't bear to get myself out of bed. I couldn't eat. I was being sick, and at the time I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know that it was my anxiety. I just figured I was very homesick, and perhaps I was a little bit. But when I got back from the trip, I was still crying and I was still hyperventilating, and I couldn't be in certain rooms, and it was just very overwhelming. Especially as a 16-year-old, you're trying to discover yourself, and it was just one of those things where I was like, what is going on? Why am I not okay? And I honestly, I owe so much to my teacher at the time. I'm not going to say her name because I don't know if she wants to be on the internet, but if she's watching this, she knows who she is. She advised me that I should go and speak to my doctor and that I should go and see a psychologist. And honestly, I would still be alive, but this woman did save my life, essentially. Like, I would not be the person that I am today without her, and I owe her so much, and I'm so grateful for her. Like, I literally can't even explain it. So at the time I knew that something wasn't right, but I couldn't figure out what it was, and the people around me didn't know what it was either because I couldn't identify it. I just was like, yeah, I'm homesick. But then I got home and I wasn't homesick anymore because I was home, but I was still upset, and I just couldn't wrap my head around it. But that's when I knew that something was wrong. And then I remember I went to the doctor with my mum, and I just absolutely broke down crying. And since then I've been on a journey with myself and with my psychologists to pick myself up, to understand my brain, to reduce the anxiety and be able to live as normally as possible. You can live a normal life when you have mental health issues. I want to make that very, very fucking clear, that you can live a normal life. Being mentally ill, whatever they want to fucking call it, is just something that you live with. It doesn't define you, and you can thrive and put that stuff aside and learn to deal with it and learn to maintain, oh my god, I can't even put it into words. I feel like I'm never gonna have the right words to say in this video, so please take everything with a grain of salt, because like, I'm no expert, I'm just speaking from experience. But this is 100% fucking true, and that is that you can live your life with mental health issues. They are just things that, they aren't you, they aren't like a part of you, they are something that you live with and something that you learn to control, and you get to take control of your life and you get to be the person that is guiding your future and all of these things. And anxiety, depression, bipolar, whatever it is that may be a part of that, but it doesn't define you. It will never define you, and it's so important that you know that, because people make such a big deal out of it and they think that you are just your anxiety, you are just this, you are just that. No, you are living with that and you can thrive with that, because I'm thriving, and I wasn't a long time ago, but I am now, and it does happen. Like, you can come through it and you can come good, and it's, I can't put it into words because honestly, like, it's gonna make me cry. Okay, so I do want to touch on how to know when to ask for help. And obviously in my story, I didn't know that I needed help, but now that I can look back at the signs and realize what was going on, I do know when it is important to reach out for help. And that is when you feel lonely, when you feel a little bit lost, if you feel like the world is swallowing you up and you just don't know how to surface, stuff like that. If you're feeling like a little bit anxious, like, you don't have to reach out to a psychologist. That isn't necessarily your path, but you can reach out to your friends, you can reach out to your family, your support people that you have, you can reach out to all of the hotlines, anything, and they will always be there to help you. And it is so important that when you feel like you need someone, that you reach out to that someone. And don't be embarrassed, don't be afraid, because everybody needs someone sometimes. You don't even need to tell them everything. You could just say, hey, I'm just like not feeling 100%, I really need someone right now. They can just literally come and watch a movie with you. Just the presence of that person could absolutely change your mindset, and that is important. So knowing that, like, you're in touch with your feelings, and if you're like, this isn't me, I don't feel alright, I'm worried, I'm scared, I'm anxious, reach out. And if it's getting to the point where you think that medical help, I take antidepressants as well as seeing a psychologist, where stuff like that will help you, then reach out, go see a doctor, have a conversation about it. They talk about all of this stuff all the time. It's so normal. Me and my doctor are like literally best friends. We talk about this stuff just like so nonchalantly, because it doesn't, like, it's something that she hears every day, so it's not going to scare anyone away or anything like that. I don't know, it's really hard to explain. I keep saying that, but it's hard to say the right thing because everyone's journey is different. But I think when you feel like you don't have control of yourself, or when you feel like you're lonely, or you just need someone there, or that like it'd be easier to have someone on the path with you, that's when you should reach out. I think that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so someone wanted me to talk about how to realize signs in your friends and family and people around you that they need help. Now, obviously, I am not, again, an expert in this. I don't know every disorder inside and out. But with anxiety, I think with your friends and your family, you know how they act. If they are like retracting into themselves, then you probably should ask if they're okay. But I want to make it very clear, if they tell you that they are okay, do not push them. Do not. I know that if I get asked too many times if I'm okay, then I start questioning if I'm okay. Then I realize that maybe I'm not okay, and I play on all of these thoughts in my mind, and then it gets me into a really deep pit, and sometimes it's a little bit hard to get me out of that. So ask someone if they're okay, ask what they need. And I think the most important thing as well when looking out for your friends or your family in a situation like this is checking with them the things that they want you to do for them. So like, I personally like someone holding my hand when I'm having a panic attack, or I like just a presence of someone there, not necessarily someone talking. I don't really need someone to talk to me. I hate it when people breathe with me, which obviously breathing is important, but don't breathe with me. It irks me because it makes me feel stressed because I can't breathe at the same pace as you, and then it increases my anxiety. But if you sit there with me and you hold my hand, or you rub my arm, or you just put your arm around me, you hold me and make sure that I'm still and tight so that I'm not fidgeting, so that I'm not shaking, then that's how I feel best. But then some people may want you to breathe with them. Some people may just want space by themselves. They deal with their panic attacks and their anxiety, whichever it is, in the way that is best for them. And I think the open communication between you and your friends or your family makes that a lot easier, so that you aren't imposing on their needs and thinking you're helping when you're not. But also that way you can understand them a little bit more. It's tricky. Everyone's different with that. Evie, you're knocking the tripod, sweetheart. In this scenario though, I just want to make it clear there's no right or wrong. Just as long as you're looking out for the people around you, and as long as you're looking out for yourself, that's the most important. There's a lot of ums and ahs in this video because I am not an expert, and it's still a bit of a sensitive topic for me, I won't lie, because even I don't know when to reach out for help. And sometimes it can be really hard, and it's not necessarily easy to admit that you need help. I know that when I have panic attacks at work, I want to reach out to my best friend that works with me, but sometimes I don't know if that's appropriate, and I don't know what I need at the time. It literally happened to me the other night, and I had to go and sit outside, and I didn't know what I needed, and it was hard. It was really hard, and I ended up pushing through it because I was at work. I had to present myself, but I'm not gonna say that it's gonna be 100% easy all the time. I'm also trying not to cry right now, because it's not. It can be a very brutal process to go through, but the more you work on yourself, the more you understand yourself, and the easier that it will get, essentially. I don't want to cry, so I'm gonna move on. Alright, so the next thing that I want to talk about is tips and tricks to look after your mental health. And now obviously everybody's different, so this is going to be different for every single one of you watching this video. But some tips and tricks that I find super helpful is stuff like journaling. Getting all your thoughts down in a journal is a good idea, so that you can collect your thoughts, and not necessarily, you don't have to go back and read them, but sometimes it's just good to get them out so that then they're not like weighing on your shoulders. I also think music is a very good escape. It is nice to listen to music, get involved in that world. Again, with that sort of like getting involved in a different world, reading a book or watching a movie or a TV show can also be very helpful for your own coping mechanisms. I don't think like avoidance is sometimes a good tactic, but avoiding all the time isn't necessarily a good thing, which is why like journaling can be important, meditation can be important, like self-care, like having a bath, doing your skincare, making sure that you have a good routine and getting up in the morning and stuff like that can all help. One of my friends literally said to me one time, he was like, I think that you should get in a routine and it will be really good for you. And he was right. So you know who you are if you're watching this, and that did help, so cheers, ta, for that. But yeah, I think I've touched on enough in this video, and that is me. My name's Mads. I have anxiety, I have panic disorder, and I have depression. But it does not define me. I am still Mads. I am the fun-loving travel adventurer, girl who loves YouTube, Instagram, crystals, my dog. I love all of these things, and anxiety and depression and panic disorder are just these little things that float around in here sometimes, and I live with them, but they aren't me. And I want to make that very clear that they aren't me. They are just a part of me. So this is where I'm going to wrap this video up. Feel free to leave a comment if you want to have a conversation about anything, if you want to make a comment on anything, or DM me on Instagram if you want to have like a private chat with me. I'm always open to talk with you guys. I love you guys so much. Like, you literally have no idea. I do really love you all so much. And if you feel pulled to like this video, I don't want to promote myself too much because that's not what this video is about. This video is just about being true and open with you guys, and I feel, I can't even explain it, it's just like my breath feels lighter. Like, I've wanted to do this for the longest time. I don't think you have any idea. Like, I have had this in my video plans for over a year, and I could never bring myself to film the video because I thought that I was invalid because I haven't overcome my mental health issues. But the truth is, you're always working on yourself, and I still am working on myself, and part of working on myself was filming this video, being honest with you guys, talking about it, and that's that. And here I am, and hi, I'm Mads, just Mads, and thanks for listening to my journey. And I hope that I inspired you, potentially, just a little bit, maybe just a smidge.